What do you think of e-publishing as an alternative for some of those things that may get left on the
Well,
floor?
there are lots of things springing up. The publishing industry, of course, as we all know, has its hands full these days trying to figure out what to do. And some of them are bringing out their own paper books as second edition as an electronic. And I've had a couple already that I didn't even know were coming. They just automatically do it. But e-publishing is very iffy if you do it on your own. And I speak from experience. I have one, and it's some of my best writing, I think. And it's a book of poetry based on the lake behind my house. And remember, I'm an old biologist.
Right.
And so after observing the wildlife in, above, and around the lake for the last 20 years, I finally decided to write a book of poetry about that. And I knew going in that this was it would be considered local. What I'm writing about I consider to be universal, but still it has a very specific location behind Harrison's house in Springfield, Missouri, where that is. And so I just went straight to ebook. And it's never going to make any money. It cost me $900 to get it done by the time of artwork and layout and all that. And if I ever make back half of that, I'll be thrilled to death.
Right.
Because you don't have anybody helping you. You don't have that promotional aspect. You don't have sales reps out there. You don't have all those things that you take for granted when you work with a regular publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So there are the exceptions. There always are. There are some people we read about who make $150,000 off their ebook. Well, yay for them. But that isn't a typical story.
Right.
On the other hand, it's an outlet for people who are just anguishing over the frustration of all this and just have to see their work somewhere where people can gain access to it, even if you gave it away. An ebook version is not a bad way to go. And I don't doubt what there are going to be more and more options for authors. But if making money is part of the expectation or the hope, then I'm not sure that that's as likely. But if you can't get the attention of a publisher right now for whatever reason, at least you don't have to feel like you're treading water. I know one or two poets who did that in the first place, and then the publisher picked them up after they saw
Right.
other
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
It happens.
So you just experiment and be flexible and don't spend your life
Think so.
savings.
When you take on the idea of writing a book or a collection of something, you have to realize that it's an elephant and you're just feeling a part of it. You have to stand back and see the whole thing. And I think that's more important than it ever was.
Right.
Which I think is another reason why you're seeing so many anthologies these days. Janet Wong, Sylvia Vardell are among the champions leading the way on that. If you bring together 30 or 40 or 50 or 80 poets and nobody gets paid much, but everybody gets a piece. Everybody gets to say, well, I've got a poem in such and such a book. Well, that's a credit. That's something. And the teachers love it too because they're getting a whole meal, a total smorgasbord.
Right.